fucking close. Perfect. We like to keep it super high tech and professional here. So, I've only made one other YouTube video as of today's date. I generally like to Facebook Live because I can listen to music and shit. I do everything off my phone. I don't have a computer. Everything's on my phone. So, get right into it. Newest shape. I tried a different way of doing it as well. This is going to be a surf skate. The red outlines are going to be the outlines of the board. I kind of played around with the truck placement. Got a big wheelbase on it. Big, huge curves in it. Small nose, longer tail. It is going to be 32.5 inches long, about 10 inches wide. Couple things I did different this time. I did the truck placement. I made my mold wider, which I may trim to size. Adding the extra outlines. I also, so I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with SKATECAD. If you're not, check it out. It's really cool. You can make any design you want. Kind of see what it looks like before you cut it out to foam and all that stuff. So it kind of speeds up the process. On one of the board shapes I liked, they had a certain concave, and I wanted to know what the drop was, and I was able to figure out what the degree angle is, which I added here and here to find how deep I wanted this to go, which is deeper than what it'll be, obviously, because the foam extends larger on each side and top and bottom. My foam size is 34 by 12. So, another thing really quick before we start this. Oh, so before I pull that out, another thing I'm in the process of making is a jig for wheelbase and trucks. So that's really nice exotic woods laying around, so I just put some templates on them. I gotta shape them up, and they'll essentially go on like a metal ruler and be able to slide up and down, similar to this. A while back, I made something similar to what I'm talking about, which is where any woodworkers or guys in the construction field may have seen this. This is like the greatest tool ever. Craig's tool. This thing is the best. If you don't have one, get it. It's like 14 bucks. But it's short, so I wanted to make something similar. So I made an oversized kind of version of that. And basically this just slides up and down. When I get my mark, it stays in place. So these will be kind of the same concept, only there will be two with a truck pattern in the middle. So I'm pretty hyped on that. I don't know if it'll work or be shit. But like I said in my video before, I am a total novice at this. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. So take what I say with a grain of salt. And as I said before, the purpose of my videos are, instead of being some established guy who's fucking just killer at making these, I am the brand new guy who's trying to learn how to get good at these. And I thought it would be fun to kind of walk everybody through that process as I learn stuff. Bring it up here. So the other thing I made some modifications for my pressing system. I also had some issues with some leaks on my bag, so everything's still in there. But if you look in there, you can see I added a piece of foam that I cut lines into that run vertically and horizontally, letting the airflow go underneath. And then a secondary pad made out of this kind of weird cardboard stuff. And then my mold goes on that with my veneers on that. So anybody, here, let me set this back down. So anybody who's seen any kind of videos where they're doing veneering, they'll take a melamine material, you know, something similar to these. They'll do the same thing, right? And they'll put a piece of masonite over that, and say the dimensions are 12 by 34, their melamine would be like 11 and a half or 11 3/4 wide by 33 and a half, 3/4 wide, something like that. So basically, you've got like a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch all the way around for that air to be pulled even from underneath. When I was fixing my bag, I feel like I had the absolute best seal that I have gotten yet. And I also don't know, I also use this, which is common in other veneering stuff. They use PVC. I had some old pool posts, you know, you make your fucking outdoor pool with, and basically wrap my bag, get it where it's got a little bit of meat wrapped up around it, take this part, slide it in, roll it a little bit more, boom. The guys that don't do veneering for skateboards do it just for woodworking. That's all they use. I've seen guys, they don't even have to seal it, and those systems work so well for them. That's all they use. Another thing that's kind of fun that I'm in the process of trying is I bought this like 1/8 inch thick, thin plywood. That was kind of fun, that I got for making templates out of more. And then I was like, what if I made some kind of like mellow board out of it? It's basically 3 veneers thick, so it's a pretty thick material, but with minimal curvage. I thought maybe it might work. I'm not sure how many to use. I mean, if there's 3, this is essentially would be a 9-layer deck in 3 pieces. But the cool thing is I try to keep the same fundamentals, where I've got a long cut, I've got cross cut, long cut, and I've got a couple other pieces too. So at some point I'm trying to make something out of that. Anyways, let's get to it. After a bong hit. So my videos are long. I don't edit, I don't pause. There's no those cool little features where you can get past the part where the dude's just blah blah blind and get to the shit you want to see. Yeah, we don't have that here. You're just stuck. You can fast forward and use a visual marker, I guess. Around here we keep it low budget and we do it at our pace. So, today I'm just gonna basically go through how I carve. I think real time's kind of better because some of the stuff they speed up, and maybe there's parts of that like you want to see their techniques. Like me specifically, everything on the boards, these foam molds are pretty easy to deal with. I'm really still unsure of how to really shape these right, getting in here and what my angles are supposed to be. Again, because I'm new and I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't care. We can fuck shit up on here. I'm not the expert. I've literally made one board, which is still upstairs. I don't know if I showed it on the last one or not. I think I did. Anyways. So, when you carve, you should probably wear some sort of mask. I'm almost gonna guarantee this shit's not good for you. I do sometimes I don't. To go over the tools that I use, let's get those all out. What happens if you get foam insulation in here? Ooh, it got smoky quick, huh? All right. Sorry there, YouTube. So, what I use this as my primary saw. This guy here, it's Cobalt. Japanese saw, super cheap. I really like this because the blade, and it doesn't have this thick part here for going all the way through. The problem is this. You can get way off square, but that's why these are designed. So you can put them at these weird angles, cut off dowels. But I still do use it. If you guys are unfamiliar with an Olfa knife, these things are rad. These are basically the same knife, different style. Sharpest knife ever. They're breakaways, but not like the cheap kind. These will send you to the hospital in a minute. I wear cut-proof gloves. I normally do, except for when I'm shaping. But I use these at work all the time, and I always wear gloves with them. Next, rasps. I got a small guy, big guy. There's a brand called Gator for sanding and stuff. This is my favorite, this shape. And it's super squishy, the whole thing. This one, same thing, it's a little guy. And then this one has like a stiff pad right here, so it can't flex. So just these 3 tools alone, I mean, I feel you did just about the whole thing just with that. Then I have just some old pieces of foam. This one's rubber banded on because it was glued and it fell off. This one the glue's still holding. It's just a sand belt that I cut. And then just loose sandpaper. So, I don't get fucking purple all over this. The first thing, which I've only seen another person do, but I think it was such a good idea. Ooh, I'm gonna do the nose first. No, we'll do the tail. What this guy does is he does cross cuts. So getting rid of, all that tail, that's a lot of material to get rid of. Well, still keeping this nice and flat as you're getting that angle. A lot of times, it'll want to kind of hump here, so you'll put a straight edge on it, and these 2 sides go boom. Where this is got this like little bit of a bow. So I'll take my knife. We're gonna use a saw on this. You can use a saw or knife. I think last time I used my saw. We're gonna use this. That's right. I used the Olfa on the concaves for the rails. So what I mean, something like this. Okay. And I don't go super close. I'm still keeping it back like at least a quarter. But I will say the good thing is if you go through, especially with like the razor, you can't say it's a little bit deeper. It's just a slit versus if you go deeper on like the rasp or like cutting it with a knife, you could bow into it. Which again, it's skateboarding. It's not meant to be perfect. And if you are a perfectionist and it bothers you, you know, don't forget, you can always go back and use some kind of like spackle or putty to fill in those holes and then sand it and it'll be perfect. You can do that on your wood molds, your foam molds, your cement molds. There's a material you can put in any imperfection out there. Okay. Oh, and as far as what I'm doing is not to knock any of the guys that are out there doing anything, because I love it. They're my mentors and they don't even fucking know me essentially, you know what I mean? They got a lot of great shit out there. I'm just not that guy. I don't have the ability to make these edited videos. You know, I'm not selling anything, so I don't have a brand to protect. Honestly, I don't even really want to sell them. It's kind of like drugs. If I'm gonna sell them, let's say I would want to sell enough skateboards, just enough to, you know, buy some more skateboards kind of mentality, you know what I mean? But as far as trying to make it a profitable thing, I don't know. But at the same time, if there was the way to make a living doing this, oh, all day long. So that's not to knock those guys, because, I mean, they're pretty skilled motherfuckers, and I'm sure the stuff that they build and whatnot probably brings them some sort of revenue, and it should, because the information they're putting out there is valuable as fuck. So my personal favorites is, I know I'm saying it wrong every time, but I think it's Manic, Johnny Manic. If you've done any research of this process at all, you've already seen him. He's the dude with the fucking boards with the killer designs, fucking punk guy, plays music, super cool, wears glasses, shows you everything in pretty good detail too. And I like his philosophy of, you know, if you don't have this or that, use this, use that. Because that's the thing, like, there's a million different ways to do all this shit. You don't need to have the most expensive whatever. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice. I mean, nice tools are fun. But at the end of the day, you can use whatever you want. Another guy I really like is the guy who does the Good Road stuff. And I met somebody who actually purchased a couple of his things that he's printed off on his 3D printer. And they look legit, but I'm always wary about ordering anything, you know, from anybody online. Well, I'm here to tell you, I saw him firsthand in person, and that shit he's selling is dope and legit. And I, at some point, plan on getting some of this myself. So, if you're newer to this like me, and kind of feel the same way, and are like, man, I wonder how that stuff works. It works, and it's pretty good quality too. I was like, man, that is, I think, almost even better. So here's another thing though. So gluing your molds, if you use this pink foam like I do, I generally use wood glue, right? Well, there's a local shaper who's been awesome and has taught me like all kinds of stuff about the process, helped me with materials and stuff to get into it. Well, he said he uses the spray adhesive foam, you know, just your like M3 spray adhesive foam. So I thought I'd try it, but he did warn me it melts it. Well, the more you use, the more it definitely does melt it, right? So I stopped using it, but used it on this because I needed the mold done then and there. So I used it because it's obviously faster, but it messes with my OCD because now I've got these like rotting spots. They're gonna drive me nuts. So as you can see, it makes all that shit come off just that much easier, in my opinion. Alright. And then now maybe we'll switch over to the knife a little bit. Kind of fuck with this guy. And the great thing about these Olfas is you can pull the blade all the way out. Hopefully you guys can see that. I literally have a ladder with a piece of plywood that's supposed to be for a wood mold that has a clear rubber made with a bunch of rags in it, where my phone is plugged in with an extension cord that goes across the room, and that kind of tells you the budget we have here. We don't. We're just trying to make cool shit and show other people who want to make cool shit what we've figured out so far. And that is our objective. Just share info. Okay. And then you can start getting to a point. I'm hella stoned, so I'm just a mess of all this. Where, maybe switch over to the rasp. Now I will say, the one thing about this glue though, versus the wood glue, is it almost makes like a stringer. Any surfers out there who are familiar with how those boards are made, that the wood stringer, it almost makes like this wood stringer. So you gotta be careful of that, your mold, and kind of tend it out a little bit more. So this is where we're at so far. See, you can kind of see that rot, but we're gonna be underneath that. It is gonna be in our mold. We just don't know how bad yet. So that's kind of where we got it down to. And then you just keep working it. Trying to keep this flat. Constantly changing what view you're looking at it. Don't just look at this side. Make sure you're looking over here. Because that's the thing. Whatever your line is, that is your line. That, I just feel like once you go past it, that's it. The headache starts. You're going bareback. Okay, bye. Alright, so here we go. We're getting pretty close. Let's see all that. So just be aware, it'll be in your mold. But you're also going to tape these too, so that covers the voids as well. I still don't like it, but... So now I just kind of keep getting less and less aggressive as I go down in the process. Started with the saw, went to the rasp, so I'm getting close. Yeah, I will say, if you're trying to make skateboards and you can't listen to music, it's just, I don't even really see the point in it. That's why I've only made one YouTube video. But I'm like, if I don't have my phone, how the fuck am I gonna listen to music? Do they even make CD players anymore? I got CDs. But I have this old shitty TV out here. It's actually a smart TV, so I just logged into Spotify. Definitely where you should be wearing the mask on the fine parts. But you can see that that's kind of coming out a little bit. You know, you could even make your own just like with wood. Like do a sawdust. If you're OCD like me and those bother you and you just hate how it's ugly. Take your shavings, get some glue, put it on a piece of paper, cardboard, little disposable bowl, Dixie cup. Mix a little mixture, and boom, there you go. Let it dry, sand it out, it'll blend. Who knows, it might even look kind of cool. Not that it'll have anything to do with your board. Finished product. So, and then I have this little homemade tool, just something I made. Pre-skateboards, I like to make homemade tools and different random shit. And this is long enough where I put this on here. And see where any areas I may be bowing in. Let's go to this guy a little bit. And then I try to keep my motions going horizontal, but I do throw in the verticals as well. See, we're getting a little bit closer. So right now we're higher than over here. Excuse me, higher here than here. So in the past, I generally wouldn't do these lines. I know some of these look fucked up, like this line was off in the wrong spot. But I put my tail lines all the way around, which I actually really like because it helps keep that in square before I just doing them on the sides and just taking them to the full run of the phone, so to speak. Try to check it. More the merrier. Got. Okay, now we're gonna knock down this middle. Okay.
I got chips in case out.
Sweet. dry. Still got some fine tuning. And like I said, because I am a novice at that, if anybody watching has this dialed in and sees stuff that would help or that I'm doing wrong, please comment. Let us know. I don't want to teach people the wrong things. I'm just teaching what I've learned so far. Which, already after the first board, I changed up so much stuff just in that process already. To the mortuary, lift up the casket and fiddle with the jug. Let's return right. I won't complain. Okay, I still got a little bit of a hit right here. Actually, we're gonna go to this guy and get a little bit more. Won't even crop a shooter in my head. Alright, and fuck the dead. Alright. I think that might be the golden ticket. That's pretty much it. Now, once I'm like really close, now I switch over to something soft like this. And I think this is 120. This is 220. I think this is like 60. These are like 60 or 80. Yeah. Oops. And again, the finer you go to removing the material is the more appropriate time to continue to wear some sort of respirator. It's not something that I don't do. I just don't have it on right now because of doing the video. But if there's like kids or people that just don't know better, yeah, don't do this shit. Really, there's no material that you want to breathe fine dust of out there. Even wood. You can get like cedar allergies and shit. Okay. Perfect. Now we'll hit it with this. This I just use my hand because this is like my really fine-tuned finished part. Still doing vertical, horizontal, but again, just getting softer and softer in my approach to removing materials. Again, saw, super aggressive. Rasp, really aggressive. Then like 80 and 60 grit papers on a school bus, pretty aggressive for that. And then even in these, you've still got a 60, 120. Now we're getting into our finished stuff. Because obviously at this point, if you're using something too aggressive, you can only take off aggressive amounts. And then regardless what you use to glue this stuff together, if you get this, there's companies like Roar Rocket, who most people know of. They've got their foam. That's one solid piece. There may be a way to get some other kind of foam that works. That's a solid piece. It's not. Again, I use this just because it's in my price range. I would get the Roar Rocket stuff. I'm just super impatient. I don't want to wait like a week or two to get it. When I need it, I just want to go to the store and grab it. If there was a Roar Rocket down the street, I would just get direct deposit there because that's where all my money goes. But if you're local in Washington, which is where I live, and you want to get some Roar Rocket stuff, it's called Rockler Wood. It's got like Tukwila, Spearing kind of area, I think. And they sell a bunch of their stuff. Not skateboard specific. It's for like woodworking, you know, like bending backs and arms for like making chairs and shit. But like they have the pumps, they have the seals, they have bags. Most of the bags they carry are all small though. I don't think they have any bags that you can fit a skateboard in. But I think that's how it's set up with the whole Roar Rocket thing. Because like I talked about in the first one, like they own the whole thing. So because I saw one of their videos, those rounded molds with like the rounded bags, those are like, I guess, designed specifically like that, so you can't, I don't know, mass produce, I don't know, they explained it, but I know there's like specifics on their stuff. And I got no beef with them. I think they're cool as shit. I'm using their stuff, I like it. The only thing I don't like about you guys, Roar Rocket, is that A, it costs money because I'm broke, but your prices are reasonable, and I gotta wait like a week or two because I'm freaking so impatient. All right, there we go. So the tail is done. You can still see I have my line all the way around. You can see the little bit of blemish from that, but other than that, like a nice fine finish to it. I did dent it a little bit here trying to take this glue line down, but yeah, that's it. I am so excited about this board. It's got this little snubby nose that's at like, where did I put the nose at? Oh, here, I'll tell you the dimensions of what the board is. If you want to make this board. So 32.5, 32 and a half inches. It is 10 inches wide. It was initially going to have a 18-inch wheelbase. 18-inch wheelbase. But when I measured that out for what I had made, that didn't fit, so I did shorten it a little bit. It's a 4-inch nose, 6.25 tail, and then the concave is a 0.3. I put my nose at a 12 degree, and I put my tail at an 18 degree. So, if you want to know the measurements, that's the guys. Alright guys, I'm not going to shake this whole thing out, because obviously they'll take a gazillion years. You see how slow I go, because I'm brand new. But anyways, yeah, I was super stoked. There's already got a comment on my first video. So please, if I'm doing shit wrong on these, tell me any feedback. People that know what they're doing, let me know. Anybody who doesn't know what they're doing, getting into it, this is just my process, my journey, and I feel like whoever gets into it, like, once you start, it's not even a hobby, dude. It's like an obsession. My wife basically has told me she would prefer a time limit on how much time I spend building these, because I would quit my job, come out to my garage at 6 o'clock in the morning, and build fucking skateboards till 12 o'clock at night, if I could. If I win the lottery, that's my plans. Travel? Fuck that, I'm building skateboards. Oh man, could you imagine the tools? Anyways, so it's super, super fun. And if you're not used to building, one of the things as somebody who does build is you put your hands on, like, almost, not every trade, but so many different trades, because in this process, you're dealing with foams and shaping, but you're also dealing with masonry work. When you're making those cement molds, you have to know what you're doing if you're gonna compress cement together at that kind of pressure. So you're gonna have to research it. Then you're gonna have to figure out how to do molds. Then that starts getting you into metal work, because you're gonna want to rebar and force it. Then you're gonna want to press. Can you use wood? Absolutely. Do guys do it? Absolutely. Can you use metal? You can use metal too. And like me, I had an old trailer with super thick gauge metal that I chopped up that I'm gonna use. So I've done a ton of metal work. There's woodwork. You're tracing, you know, your patterns out, and that's just the structure of the build, you know. And that, not to mention, you're doing the veneering part, which is like its own little expertise. You're gluing your glue up, like, keep it, I think it's like 2 ounces per, I think it's like 2 ounces per veneer-ish, 2.3, 2.6, something around there. Don't go crazy, don't go light. And that, I did find a video where they said how much I had it written down and showed how much they put. And I think that's really valuable. And if your glue roller is wet, that's gonna make a difference. So, you know, it's kind of like painting. If you take your glue roller, when you're done, wrap that sucker in like a plastic bag that doesn't have any holes, tape it on to the roller, that glue will stay fresh. And then when you're ready to use it, you pull it out, boom, you got a damp roller, so it's consistent. Use a dry roller, well, get it wet, take something, doesn't matter what, you're gonna throw out that's not dirty or gonna transfer shit onto your veneers, and roll it. Do a bunch of rolling, get that thing super saturated, right? So it almost makes more sense to put it in the bag. So there's another little tip that I picked up. But at the end of the day, you're using band saws and all kinds of crazy shit most people wouldn't use. So there's a lot of value to that. You get good at building skateboards, I feel it kind of opens the door that it would make you good at a lot of other things too, like any kind of wood building. If you can make a wood skateboard mold, you know, not from a CNC, and hand carve a really legit one, even if you're tracing off, you know, your lines, that's still hard to do. So long story short, it is great, and not only does it allow you to skate, but it teaches you so much stuff and lets you be so creative. And then you get into the design part. Now you're getting into like silk screening. Silk screening is just like this. That's why I haven't even got any silk screen stuff yet, because that's going to be a big learning curve in itself. So right now I'm just trying to make boards, which is most important. And once I know I can make a board that's not going to de-lam and that feels right and is all even and equal, and I get on it and I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to skate this board, then we'll worry about what it looks like, you know? So I'm going to go ahead and download this and see you guys later. Bye!